Hello bosses and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about social media marketing and the 5 essential steps that all beginners or even people who've been doing it a little while but have found themselves sort of plateauing, getting sort of dropping off with their number growth, that's not getting as much engagement as they used to and doesn't really know how to move the needle. We're going to talk about that today. I'm going to give you the 5 steps that you can put into place right now. They're not going to cost you anything, that will really help to elevate your social media and really put you into a much more positive place and a place where you can really start to grow that engagement and grow your brand awareness at the same time and acquire more customers. Let's dive in. The very first thing that you need to focus on is choosing your platforms. Now, there are a lot of platforms out there and there seems to be new ones popping up all the time. I myself am guilty of talking about TikTok quite a lot because I'm quite excited about it. But my advice to you is to choose 2. Choose 2 platforms that you're going to put all of your energy and time into. Because if you do all of them, if you do Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Snapchat, what am I missing? Oh God, there's so many. If you do all of them, what you're going to end up doing is either replicating content across all of those channels. So you're basically getting the same thing but somewhere else, which really people start to get bored of very quickly. And also you really do need to be creating content that is native for that platform. So for instance, if you're creating something that's for Instagram, it's not necessarily going to translate very well into Pinterest. So you really shouldn't be repurposing the same content in the same way across all of those channels. If you do decide that you want to say you create a video, you can carve it up in different ways. You can create a little soundbite that goes on to Instagram. You can create a longer form that goes onto Instagram stories. You could pop it into Pinterest, but you need to be creating or curating that one piece of content for the platform that you are going to post it on. Creating one thing and repurposing it across all those different channels just makes your content look really weak, really repetitive. And because the algorithms of all of the social media networks are so powerful and they keep changing all the time, your engagement is not going to grow. Your numbers of fans or likes or whatever, I know we're not really using likes anymore, but you know what I mean, is not going to grow either, and you're going to stay on that plateau. So choose your 2 platforms. Now, if I was a beauty brand, which is who I work for and what I do, beauty, fashion, lifestyle, I would suggest that you focus on Instagram and on Pinterest primarily. I'm not telling you not to do Facebook. I'm not telling you not to do LinkedIn. I'm not telling you not to do all of those things. But if you are a direct to consumer or a consumer brand in fashion, in lifestyle, in food, in retail, in beauty, then Instagram and Pinterest should be your 2 focus platforms. If, for instance, you're a business to business company, then it should be LinkedIn, and Twitter is also good for that. And actually YouTube is quite good for business to business as well, which is kind of what I'm doing here, right? But as a consumer facing brand, as who's attracting customers in those spaces of beauty, fashion, lifestyle, blah, 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 then you do want to be on Instagram and Pinterest. And that's where I would advise you to spend and focus your time and energy. My second tip for you is to really think about building connections and relationships with the people that you follow and who you want to engage with your brand, particularly if you're looking at editors, journalists or influencers. Don't be a passive social media person. I really get quite frustrated when people say, oh yeah, I'm on Instagram, but I don't really do anything. I'm just looking. Well, you're not contributing to the platform. You're not adding value to anyone's life. You're basically just being nosy and a bit of a voyeur. And I kind of think that's a bit like weird and a bit creepy. You know, particularly as a brand, you need to be active. So if you really want to build relationships with, say, some fashion editors or some fashion influencers or stylists or makeup artists, start following them. If you don't already, I'm sure you do, but be a very active and engaged follower. Compliment their work, ask them a question, Don't be a stalker, there's a very fine line, but be an active follower and they will absolutely start to notice you. So really think about, how you engage with that person and how you engage with their followers as well. Because, I think a lot of influencers and editors love it when their followers start to have a conversation with each other or answer the question. Often someone will pop up in my feed and ask me a question and I haven't got back to them as quickly as I was like, but 2 other people have got back to them. And I think that's amazing because it's creating that sort of community. So really, really think about, who you're following, why you're following them, because also if you think about it, if you think in that way, then you can start to flip it and think, okay, why are people following me? What am I bringing to the table? Why are they here? Why are they on my platform? For instance, if you're let's say you're a beauty brand and you keep posting pictures of your dog every 5 minutes, or a beauty service company or whatever it is, it's not why people have come to you. It might be nice every once in a while a cute doggy pic, but they don't want to see it in every post. They've come to you for beauty or for fashion advice or whatever it is. So make sure that you are serving up content which is actually bringing them the value that they were looking for when they started following you. Following you in the first place. So my third tip for social media marketing is to really maximize your bio. Now, so many brands, and I see it all the time, particularly in Instagram, they just say in this, I don't know how to do the screen sharing thing yet, so you'll just have to, the bio underneath your picture. So many people just say skincare brand for natural, if they're a natural skincare brand, sold in blah blah, like literally nothing. You're not maximizing that space to really capture the attention of your brands, capture the people of your customers or editors or influencers or whoever you want to connect with. If someone does click onto your, say you've come up on someone's feed and they're like, oh, that looks interesting, and they click onto your page, before they go looking at your pictures, think about it when you do it, and just watch when other people do it as well. They think, oh, Jo Jones, freelance PR and brand building consultant for startups and indie brands. Oh, that's interesting. Beauty hag. Oh, right, so she's part of an indie brand. Mama, co-founder and social enterprise of Beauty Banks. Like, I've put it all out there in as there's very few characters. I don't know how many there is. I used to know, but I don't retain that sort of information, unfortunately. But maximize that profile and think, because when people come to you, before they look at their pictures, they're like, oh, right, tell me a little bit about this person. It's very difficult to get all of what you want to say and come across in that short space of words that you've got there to play with, but it will enable you to create really concise messaging about what you are, who you are, why people are there, what they're going to get from your channel, what value you're going to bring to their lives. Make sure that you really maximize that bio. Not many people do. They don't think it's important, and it is more important than you can possibly imagine. So go back over your bio and really make sure that you tell your story of your brand using the maximum amount of words that you can use and then the maximum amount of characters. That's really going, when people tap on, that they're really going to think, yeah, this is a place where I want to hang out. This is a place that I want to be. So make sure that you maximize that space. Moving on to number 4, which is obviously content. Now, this is when it can get very overwhelming, because the fact is, on things like Instagram and Pinterest, more is more. Yes, it's got to be relevant. Yes, it's got to bring value, but posting here and there and not consistently and just when you remember or you have an idea is not enough to grow your audience and to grow your engagement. You are going to stay stuck and you will start to lose followers because they're seeing the same old content rehashed and reposted again and again. Saying that, for Instagram, this is what I do to build my business. So I have a PR decoded Instagram and a PR decoded Pinterest. They're what I'm really focusing on to grow my my online learning masterclasses. So I've basically completely started from scratch about 3 months ago, and it's going well because I'm creating content that is authentic and that is also consistent, right? So on Instagram, this is what I suggest you post every day on grid, and then you support with stories. Now, I'm doing a whole other video on stories because, God, what is it with me today? Stories is such a powerful medium and is getting even more powerful. I believe it's more powerful than grid now. I love consuming Instagram stories, and I love creating them, but that's for another day. We'll talk about that another day. As much as it comes to grid posts with Instagram, you have to be posting one grid post a day. And that may seem like, oh my God, if you're a hair salon or whatever, like, or a lash bar, an eyelash bar, that can't just be one post every day of someone having a haircut, or unless it's radically different and radically amazing, or someone having their eyelashes done. It's got to be 7 different types of content, right? So one could be Monday motivational quote, 2 could be someone getting their eyelashes done and a before and after. Everyone likes a transformation. 3 could be some kind of let's think, life advice that that is not necessarily related to hair or lashes, but it's related to the category that you're in. Beauty, for instance, it could be that you've made a new beauty discovery. It could be that you're following this beauty icon who's your absolute, I always post pictures of Derry Harry because she's my absolute icon and I'm obsessed with her, and Madonna from Desperately Seeking Susan. So those kind of things just make your content much more colourful. And also news, you can regram stuff. If you've watched an influencer's content and you've loved it, you can repost it onto their channel, obviously tagging them in and all of that kind of stuff. But do it, repost it. They love it. Also think about news. I post a lot of news on PR Decoded. So I find, because it's a channel for beauty startups and independent beauty brands, and I want them to know what's going on in the beauty world and what's going on in the industry. So I will post, like this morning I posted about Dove, because Dove have made a commitment by, I think it's 2025, to be 100% reclaim plastic only with all of their packaging. That's amazing. People in the industry need to know it. It's relevant, it's pertinent to the platform, it's pertinent to the audience who follow me, and it's why they follow me is for the latest beauty news. So it all makes sense. Do you see what I mean? You don't need to just be posting about, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, it's like you're giving value to people who are coming to you, other than, oh, this is what's happening in the salon today. This is a picture of my dog. Here's some more eyelashes that I did today. Just thinking much more like a lifestyle around that person, whilst also remembering why they do come to you, which I mentioned earlier. I made some notes in my book, The Old-Fashioned Way. Oh, there's a couple of, particularly, like I run the Instagram account for Beauty Banks, which is the charity that I run with Sally Hughes. You'll find it's it's on Instagram at the Beauty Banks, and that's a charity Instagram, and that is such a challenge for me because the engagement is really high and the growth is, we're at 22,000. It's amazing. It's not been, for a charity that's really a really big following. But for me, the challenge is keeping people engaged, because there's only so many times that you can talk about donating products or statistics of people living in poverty and whatnot. You've got to keep it fresh, and you've got to keep it, engaging. Obviously, people will just stop following you. As a charity, it's a shame, but that's the world we live in. So, for instance, during the Rugby World Cup that was on recently, just at the back end of last year, there was I was looking for a post. I was looking for a really motivational post for the Beauty Banks website, Beauty Banks Instagram, and I found out through my research that the South African rugby captain grew up in a township in South Africa, used to sleep on the floor of a pile of coats, and basically clawed his way up to international rugby level, and he lifted up the Rugby World Cup for South Africa last year. And I put a picture of him, I told his story about how, and I'll put the link below so that you can see it, and it had a massive amount of engagement. I just talked about how he had come from an impoverished background, how he had been given help by certain people, and how he'd really risen above his circumstances. And because the audience are there, not just to hear sob stories about, which are incredibly bad sob stories and incredibly tragic stories about people living in poverty, they're also there to feel uplifted and to know that there is something that people can do. There is something that they can do to help people get out of poverty. So I'll put the link to that below. It's a bit rambly, but it just sort of gives you the idea. It's a constant challenge for me. It's not like I have ideas coming out of, I'm running free channels, I'm running my own, I'm running Beauty Banks, and I'm running Beauty Beat, which are all so very different. And I make sure I post them all as regularly as possible, but it's a challenge to keep that content flowing. Two things I would suggest is that you sign up to Google Alerts. They're free and really easy to activate on Google. I'll put the link below, and they just allow you, you know, if you put in beauty trends or eyelash trends or hair trends or whatever it may be is your subject matter that you're interested in, it will keep spilling up and serving you content relating to that subject. So it could be stuff that you repost, it could be stuff that gives you inspiration for other posts. And there is also another platform that I use called Feedly, Feedly. Again, I'll put down in the notes below. And Feedly is a bit similar to Google, but it's Google Alerts, but it's a much more sharper tool. It's like a news aggregator, so you can really super refine what you're interested in, what subject matters you're interested in, and it will keep you updated on the latest news, trends, insights into that particular area. You do have to pay for it. It's not very much, but I do believe that it's absolutely worth the investment. So when it comes to content, just to refresh, consistency is key. Hashtags are absolutely vital. You get up to, I want to say 29 hashtags. It might be 28 hashtags on Instagram. You should be using 27 per post. Don't worry about it looking excessive. Don't post those hashtags into your comment, into your post. Put them into your first comment so they don't clog up your comment at your sort of post and what you've written, so it doesn't look ugly. But make sure you use all of them, otherwise you are missing a trick of being discovered. So it really is, you know, what I do is I create all these hashtags, and I change them up all the time to keep them relevant and especially relevant to the post. And then my main ones I just put into my notes on my phone, and then I just highlight them when I've done a post and then post them into the comment section of Instagram. It just makes it so much easier. So content, consistency, hashtags, variety, and really thinking about the value that you bring into the people who are following you. And final tip for you is to try new things. Don't get stuck in a rut, and don't be afraid to be bold and to test things out. If they work, they work. If they don't, you don't do them again. You try different things. I've had so many successes that I've been, oh my God, I didn't realize that was going to work. I didn't realize that was going to engage. And it really did elevate my engagement. But I've had to try new things to realize what does and doesn't work, because some of the things I do doesn't work at all. And so I just change tack and think of something else. For instance, on going back to Beauty Banks again, the charity, if there's become a certain sort of, if I repost anything that's got a brand to say thank you, I don't know, to a company that's donated something to us, thank you Birchbox, thank you Vogue, thank you whatever, it gets very low level of engagement and very low level of likes. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing that, because it's important for us to have that represented on our channel and to thank the people that support us. But I know that's going to happen, right? So I'm ready for it. I also know that a picture of a motivational quote from someone like Oprah Winfrey, who's just the most incredible philanthropist, is going to do really well. So that works really well for me. So I can I can look at other ways of getting motivational quotes, because I know that that's going to resonate with my followers. You constantly should be testing things out, testing out before and after pictures, testing out, asking questions. Go on to your stories and say, what are you interested in? What can we help with? What if you had one beauty wish, what would it be? And really think about having some fun with it, because the thing about social media, I believe, is that people are getting a little bit too serious about things. The world's a very serious place at the moment. It's a very sad and scary place in a lot of places. And I think that that beauty should be a community of, playfulness and fun as well as seriousness. So don't worry or be, think that you can't bring out that playful side of your character and you have to be super serious all the time. People connect with people, so do be prepared to put yourself out there if you're a brand owner or if you're a founder. Yes, people do want to see you. It's maybe your own insecurities that are holding you back and stopping you creating content where you're front and centre. But I promise it is something that people are interested in. They want to see you. They want to know your story, the good, the bad and the ugly. Don't be afraid if something goes wrong to show that on social media. If you've been developing a product for 6 months and you just have to throw it in the bin and start again, that makes really interesting content because it's part of your journey. So be bold, try new ideas, don't be afraid to show your personality, and you will absolutely find that your numbers will grow, your engagement will grow, and your success in the space will grow. Follow me down, I'll put all my links below, and I will follow you on PO Decoded, and I will follow you right back, and we can make this journey of social media growth together. Don't forget to subscribe. Lots more great content coming soon. Have a good one. See you next time.